Welcome to Invest, talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the investment top today will be Ethereum ETH. So it's my second video that I'm posting again today. With respect to recording time of 1:43 p.m. on an Eastern time, current trading $3,340. Basically trading on a sideways fashion, down about 0.08% so far. And with respect to, I was just having some meetings earlier this morning with my broader team. And today is relatively kind of a chill day. I guess summer is still slowly enduring until the fall season comes back. The busy time is technically sometimes around like early September, if you may. So some of my team members are still on vacation right now. And I was just having lunch. I was catching up on the news. With respect to some of the news that's been percolating the last 4 or 5 hours so far, ever since the video that we recorded this morning, I'll say it's relatively interesting, right? We have two specific news that came out, right? So one came out from Market Watch about 15 minutes ago, talk about Visa. They just bought a CryptoPunk NFT for $150,000. It seems like the payments giants want a piece of the table with respect to how the crypto economy is slowly evolving. Obviously, with the popularization and technically the commercializations for NFT adoptions in the artistic community. It seems like Visa just made a relatively sizable investment. I mean, 150,000 for Visa is probably very minimal, but it's still something that is worth mentioning. And with respect to CryptoPunks NFTs, on a sales record perspective, right, they have hit 69 million in Ethereum after Visa buys in. Obviously, with the the stamp of approval from Visa on Ethereum-based NFT, it will subsequently drive some buying pressure across the board, right? Despite the relatively flat momentum that we're seeing with respect to Ethereum, but you have to remember that we've been surging for the last 20 days so far, ever since the bottom of 1750. Right, and then the other news that came out 2 hours ago, something I mentioned to you guys way earlier this morning already, is with respect to PayPal rolling out their crypto trading platform in UK. Right, it seems like the European expansions for crypto, in addition to their initiative that Goldman Sachs has done or released in the press release about a month and a half ago, it seems like PayPal wanted a piece of that pie as well on the European side. So with respect to technical analysis, we are just trading on sideways fashion despite the positive news that will be percolating on Ethereum. But we do have to adjust for the drag effects that we are currently experiencing from Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is currently down about 1.44%. If you take a look at it right now, the reason we're dropping is because people have sell order once we hit $50,000, right? And I think $50,000 is definitely a very substantive flat number. But if you look at the historical levels, right, $50,000 is a relatively, it's a pseudo substantive one. I would say it's not like extremely substantive in comparisons to obviously the ones below, right? The ones that we have been percolating on a sideways fashion for like a while, the $34,000 mark, and some of the $37,500 mark as well, right? On top of the fact, we have to remember the MACD and the RSI is relatively overbought at the moment right now. So you have to be mindful that can we sustain the momentum going forward? It seems like we could not break through or keep leaping up to the above 50,000, and technically above 50,000, the next leap up is technically about like 55 or 54,500 per the technical analysis that we see here as the next level as a leap up. So Ethereum, we have to understand that we have been enduring this surge for quite some time now, and whatever goes up really, really fast needs to come down just as fast. But knowing the fact that we have surged up for the last 20 days so far, so contingent on any other negative pressure or positive pressure, we potentially could come back above the level of 3,385, which you can see we tried to test that today, the 3,379, because of the Visa and obviously the PayPal news that percolated earlier today. But we got net canceled out with the drag effect from Bitcoin. But despite the positive news, we still couldn't get to the next level, 3,385. We were technically $6 away, which is unfortunate, right? And whatever goes up fast, we have to come back to the next level, right? And we are basically hovering around like the 3,350, which is technically another flat number, but it's not really a substantive one. So ideally, contingent on the Jackson Hole speech coming and other negative news that could potentially get us there, depending on how the whales want to manipulate, we have to be mindful of how likely we're going to be able to sustain the level, right? And I think the likelihood of actually keep surging on top of the surge we've had in the last 20 days so far, the likelihood would be low, right? Because how much can we drag up anymore? The money has to come from somewhere, unless we have a sell off on the crypto side, on the other side of the coins, or on the equity side. Something has to incentivize the surge, right? The money doesn't just come from out of nowhere or thin air, right? It needs to be circulated. It needs to be recycled from somewhere else. So something to be mindful of. To recap on numbers and technical analysis, with respect to the price level that we're at right now, because of the Visa and the PayPal news, we basically adjusted with the sell-off or the normalization that we're having from Bitcoin because we could not sustain the $50,000 mark on top of the surge that we've had for the last 20 days or 21 days so far. That in a more optimal level would be $3,000 or 2,750 or 2,450, which would be the level that I personally will dollar cost average at when we get there, right? But if you want to buy now, again, the risk is in your appetite, in your tolerance. So 9,800 would be the level ultimately we'll get there. In the next, by next year, by June, ideally. That's 3.3 times your money from the $3,000 mark, right? So that's up to your decisions on how you want to execute. And really appreciate you. And feel free to give me a shout if you have any questions on the technical analysis that we talked about, and how we should be triangulating the dollar cost average levels going forward. And really appreciate you. And stay tuned for this to come up. Take care. Bye.